I was trying to think through the passive cash flow and then passive real estate investing. So you can prepay or you can basically pre-buy something which is still building. So, and it's a lot cheaper.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Get Diversified. I am your host today, Jacqueline Landry, and I'm here with a very special guest, Igor Shaltanov. He's probably going to correct me a little bit on that last name, but Igor, welcome to the show.
No, thank you guys. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure talking to Jacqueline and Malin as well.
Fantastic. So let's jump right into this and just give me a little bit of background on about what you are, family background and upbringing, interests and passions. Let's talk a little bit about that to get everybody to get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, I always thinking how far should I go, but I think this is not a bad thing to mention. I'm from Russia. I was born in Russia, and I didn't speak English actually until the age of 27. My background, I was professional athlete. I was playing water polo professionally, and then it's probably one of the best times of your life because, and I'm talking about myself, because you play in sports and you make money, all right, and then a lot of things taken care of, right, for you because of that professional team handles that. But at the same time, there's some challenges with that too. So my family background, it's just a regular family. My dad was a policeman, right, and my mom is a doctor. She was a physical therapist. My biggest challenge was I was growing in Russia and just average family, right, and there's no financial background whatsoever, and then there's no access to any internet, right, or the courses. Once I stop playing, that when the challenge begins, right, because again, so it's all emotional, it's all nice, and you think it's going to be for the rest of your life, right, but it's actually not. And once you facing that break of the finishing career in sports, that's a very tough challenge. In my kind of world, what really helped me one time, just imagine yourself 1995 or so, and just a backyard, right, of your apartment. And one of my friends, he said, you know what, I'm going to pick up the cash. I was like, what do you mean pick up the cash? He said, you know what, we just have a spare place, we give it to the people and they pay us money. And I was like, oh my God, what is that model? What does that mean? And then back then, I just didn't pay attention as much. I didn't dig deeper back then. So just, okay, there's idea which is in existence, but I don't know what is that. So that's my little background.
That's fantastic. And I love that aha moment of, wow, you're going to pick up cash and you're not having to work for it. So that's amazing. So talk to us a little bit about, okay, so you had this aha moment that maybe you can do something like that, right? Like collect cash from folks while not doing much. So take us on your journey from that point in time.
Oh, yes. I will. So I was, as a professional athlete, that you went to the school. I mean, you usually go to the school in Russia, which is related to sports, right? And my first education was PE teacher and coach. When I was working as PE teacher after my professional career, right, I really like every single day working with kids. And then, I was really passionate about that, but really understood I cannot actually sustain my professional career living, right, and my inflated, I would say, lifestyle into that profession. I couldn't connect those two things. But speaking about that aha moment, during the professional career, my mom got the first spare apartment as well. So because in Russia, there's a system when you actually working long enough and they give you like a real estate, which is insane, but that was the form of payment. So after 20 years, for example, they'll just give you something. And this is my first experience when she got that. And she said, you know what, we're going to keep it. And I don't know, who knows who's going to live there, but there's no idea what to do with that. And speaking of that aha things, I was like, oh my God, I remember that idea. So what if? And I started to talk to my mom. I was like, and I do have money, right? I'm a still professional athlete. I said, listen, let me take care of it. I'm going to do remodeling in that apartment, the old one where you guys lived for 25 years, the last 25 years. And you guys moved to the brand new building because that other apartment was in brand new building. They just built it. It's fresh, it's pink, like you can smell it, my beautiful elevators and stuff like that. So anyways, I thought they deserve more, my parents, because they've been like living that life for a long time, right, in the same place. And it took me about 6 months to convince them. I remodeled that new place and moved them to that new place. And then that old place, yes, I just remodeled that a little bit. I did it myself, by the way. It was maybe with my neighbors. So we just did a little patching and a little bit of it. I mean, it was a good shape. We were living there. But then again, so I said, you guys move there and then we're going to rent it to somebody. And that was my first ever, I would say, challenge, right? And it's a mental breakthrough as well. So how you create passive income, right? Because I don't know why, but I always thinking through, listen, and if you athlete, right? Your career will be over. And then what's going to be next? Who knows? Nobody knows what's going to be next for your chapter of your life. And I was trying to think through the passive cash flow and then passive real estate investing. So, and that's how I started with that. And once we get that cleared up, I mean, we moved parents and then so we just start to look for tenants. I didn't know that name back then. So the name's tenants. So actually there's two boys who were living in that apartment. And the good thing, I know that right now, they were splitting that payment in half, right? So they were in two different employers, right? I think they were lawyers as well. It was easy for them to pay that rental. They were not cooking at home as much, right? It was always clean because they were eating out. So the younger people, and then, they were accountable enough again. And for us, the payment to that is it's all cash, right? There's no payment, there's no mortgage on that. So for us, the payment was equal of my mom's monthly salary. When she saw that, because again, she had no background in investing in real estate. When she saw that equal amount of her paycheck and the rental, she was like, she had an aha moment. She was like, oh my God, look at that thing. So, and my next step was, okay, how can we multiply that, let's say by 10? What if we 10x that passive income now?
I love that. People often ask me how I was able to quit my job. And I talked to them about a particular tax savings. And I said, we were able to save $80,000 on our first investment in taxes. And that was almost how much I made in a year. So that's kind of the aha moments where it's like, wow, as long as I had the money to invest, I could almost have the same benefit, not the cash, but the tax savings in 1 minute versus working 300 and something days a year. So that was my aha moment. And it's for a lot of people, when you make that comparison, like you did with your mom, and made her realize that it's like, hey, you can get into real estate and not have to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. So that's amazing. So did you 10X it?
So yeah, that's exactly what we did. And then we start to become a little bit more sophisticated because there's another thing. And I think in Florida, you can do that as well. So you can prepay, or you can basically pre-buy something which is still building. So, and it's a lot cheaper because you inherit that risk of it's never going to be finished or completed, right? So you pay a little bit less. But then at the end, once it's done, and usually we stabilize that over the next year or two, we just rent it to people. So you sell it, I would say like maybe on the 2 times more, or like 1.5 times more than you paid in the beginning. So, and that one will work for a certain time, for a certain period, maybe for about 10 years from 2005 and 2015 or so. It worked really well because you prepay and then people start to build, all right? Then you already kind of paid through the building. So once they finish, so you get this key from apartment, and there's 2 choices for you. You can either remodel that and rent it to the people and then think it's going to appreciate even more, or you can just sell it as is, because a lot of apartments in Russia, for example, they never remodeled them. It's not finished. So just the concrete, basically, walls. And then that's one idea. And the second idea came through like, oh, what if you get one spot, right? Like one space, but there's 4 different families, not 1, not 2. Right. And again, I start to experience that through the first one because I got the kids, like the young guys, not the kids, young guys who are working in different employers, right? And splitting that payment for them, it was super affordable, right? For me, it was a less risk. So I start to think through that idea. You know what if we diversify inside of your real estate as well? So you got 4 families working, 4 different employers, right? If somebody moved out, you only lose 1 payment, not all of it.
Exactly. Here in the US, we call that house hacking. It's a great way to make money for sure. So that's great.
Great way to live, right, in general, and to make money, because the other people, they pay for your mortgage, right, for this portion of it at least, and your mortgage payment's like smaller, right, and you can afford a lot more, right, to do some other things with your money. There's no tax on rentals, so you don't pay any extra, right, on your cash flow, basically. Anyways, what I'm saying, my expense was like minimal.
Jacqueline and Melvin, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to this episode of Get Diversified. Please make sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on future episodes. Finally, stop by our website and follow us on social media. Ciao for now. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next time. And remember, get diversified.